What is the true cost of wealth? Is it measured in currency or in the sacrifices we make in its pursuit? How should believers pursue and handle wealth? The allure of wealth and riches in modern society can entangle us in the paradox of wealth. On one hand, wealth and riches have the potential to elevate us to prosperity, lift us out of poverty, and enable us to lift others through acts of kindness. Yet on the other hand, wealth has the power to blind us to the true value of the treasures of life. It has the power to corrupt our minds and lead us astray. Today, I want to take you on a journey through the annals of history and divine revelation, where we will learn about two individuals whose pursuit of wealth bears different teachings. The stories of Gehazi and Boaz will open your minds and solve all contradicting arguments concerning the pursuit of wealth. Gehazi was a servant to the prophet Elisha, and his story is a cautionary tale of the ill pursuit of wealth. When Naaman, a commander-in-chief of the king of Syria, was healed by Elisha, he offered him gifts to express his gratitude. However, Elisha refused to take the gifts. He did not want to take credit for God's healing power. Gehazi was there, and he wondered why Elisha could not make use of this opportunity to gain wealth. His heart was ensnared by greed and ill pursuit of wealth. He saw a chance to exploit the situation and make some wealth for himself. He pursued Naaman and lied to get the gifts. In the book of 1 Kings, chapter 5, verses 20 to 23, the Bible illustrates how this happened. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said, "Look, my master has spared Naaman this Syrian, while not receiving from his hands what he brought. But as the Lord lives, I will run after him and take something from him." So Gehazi pursued Naaman. When Naaman saw him running after him, he got down from his chariot to meet him and said, "Is all well?" And he said, "All is well. My master has sent me, saying, Indeed, just now 2 young men of the sons of the prophets have come to meet me from the mountains of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments." So Naaman said, "Please take 2 talents. And he urged him, and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of garments, and handed them to 2 of his servants, and they carried them on ahead of him. Gehazi secured 2 talents of silver and clothing for himself. How wicked this was! But do you know, Gehazi's actions did not go unpunished. His deceitful and wicked actions were not without their consequences. His master Elisha saw through his deception and wickedness and pronounced a severe judgment against him. The prophet pronounced Naaman's leprosy on Gehazi and all his descendants. Greed is not without its punishment. It may seem like an easy way to wealth accumulation, but its end is the way of destruction. Those who use wicked means to accumulate wealth will eventually be destroyed by God. Their actions attract God's wrath, curses, and misfortunes upon their lives. In Psalms chapter 37, verse 1 and 2, the Bible cautions us against envying people who pursue wealth using dubious ways. It says, "Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away." The allure of riches and wealth accumulation is a timeless facet of human nature. Throughout history, the pursuit of wealth has been the ultimate goal in people's lives. Many are still grappling with the relationship between material wealth and true treasures. In the world today, people are respected and highly ranked depending on the measure of their wealth. The rich are considered the most privileged individuals in society. Wealth is seen as a proof or a reflection of an individual's worth and effort. This perspective has pushed many to seek wealth in unjust ways just to fit in or to secure a name for themselves in society. It has led to a self-centered approach to life, which does not consider the underlying consequences on others. The pursuit of wealth is now characterized by greed and malice. People have become heartless and without the fear of God in them. They have corrupted their spirits in their pursuit of wealth. What is the true cost of wealth? How far are people willing to go in their pursuit of wealth? Does your faith come from material possessions? Jesus warns us to be on guard in everything we do, including our pursuit of wealth. He urges us to be grateful for what we have and to use our wealth to bless others rather than indulging in self-centered and greed-driven pursuits. In Luke chapter 12, verse 15, he says, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." Jesus refutes the perception that our worth is measured by our wealth. He teaches that there's more to the abundance of possessions that we truly need as his followers. He used the example of the rich fool who made plans to store up his bounty harvest for himself, but was selfish towards God. God demanded his life that very day. In striking contrast to Gehazi's tale, the Bible reveals to us an inspiring story of Boaz, who was a man of great wealth but did not get blinded to the needs of others. Boaz showed kindness and compassion to Ruth, a Moabite widow. He went against his society's expectations to cater to the needs of Ruth and her mother-in-law, who was also a widow. His narrative showcases how wealth can be used as a tool for humanity, empathy, compassion, and kindness. In the end, Boaz and Ruth came together in a profound union. This sacred bond between them gave birth to a significant lineage that would, over generations, trace its lineage to David. As time unfolded, this lineage continued, ultimately leading to the birth of Jesus, a central figure in Christian theology. Gehazi sought to acquire wealth from others through deception, but Boaz used his wealth to help those in need. The underlying point from the two tales is for us to understand that wealth revolves around viewing it as a blessing rather than a life goal. We are blessed to bless others. It is not about the satisfaction of having more than enough, but about the joy of helping others. Jesus calls us to acknowledge and recognize that the riches we have are gifts from the Lord. He calls us to be good stewards of these resources and to use them to fulfill God's purpose on earth. The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 6, verses 17 to 19 reads, "Command those who are rich in the present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to be good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they will lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life." This teaching draws our minds to the importance of using our wealth to advance God's kingdom on earth. In our exploration of the paradox of wealth, we must have come to understand that true riches lie not in the pursuit of material wealth, but in true devotion to God. We must put spiritual richness above all other forms of wealth. The pursuit of spiritual wealth is the key to navigating the allures of material wealth. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 21, Jesus says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Jesus' declaration urges us to evaluate the states of our hearts and where we place our allegiance. Do we pledge allegiance to spiritual wealth or material wealth? With the understanding of the tales of Gehazi and Boaz, what do you think is the true cost of wealth? Knowing what you know now, you are prepared to pay the true cost of wealth. The pursuit of wealth becomes significant when you recognize it as an opportunity to uplift others and fulfill God's purposes. The true definition of wealth is filled with kindness, generosity, love, and devotion to the Lord. We need to be good stewards of God's blessings so that we can transform the paradox of wealth into an amazing blessing for God's people. As children of God, let us seek after a wealth of spirit like Boaz. Let us seek after kindness, compassion, generosity, and a heart aligned with God's will. Let us not strive for the accumulation of treasures of the world, but for the storage of our treasures in heaven. This way, we will enrich our spiritual wealth and be a positive impact on earth.